One, two, three, recording. Shari Spiro. Oh boy. There's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is that desperate times call for desperate measures, hence this video, which I'm not sure you'll appreciate. The good news is that there's a chance that you will, because no, the good news is actually okay. Obviously, the good news is that you haven't said, no, I looked at it, I'm not interested. But it's becoming apparent to me, and I'm not sure exactly how to do this, Shari, the, in a way that doesn't sound, in a way that's good. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a mantra. I want to implement, and I'm going to talk about myself in the third person. Don't worry about that right now. I want to implement and or produce and implement the most effective and efficient way for Took to always be happy about any mishaps with Shari's. Let me do that again. I'm going to implement. I want to implement and or produce and implement the most effective and efficient way for Took to always be happy about Took's perceived lack of focus in Shari Spira. Girl, thank you for looking at it. I suspect you looked at it just when I sent you the email, but you gotta read what I send you. We've gone through this before, and I told you if we were to do it, I use my all caps, and I said it doesn't mean I'm shouting, but there was, because I was actually smiling, but there's a part of me that's like, dude, this girl is not reading my emails. And I clarified some things. So rather than having you go back to read your emails, to read my emails, which are very long, and actually even the list that includes seems to include all of them, doesn't include 2 or 3 that I sent separately from the reply button, but I'm looking for somebody that has to have a specific chemistry, which I think that you do, and specific attributes, which I think that you do, that wants to explore being a partner with me, which I think you might be perfect for. I'm not looking for, but that would require time, as I've said, and a little bit more focus than you're showing. I understand your life. I mean, you got family, you got 3 or 4 businesses, you're being interviewed, you're receiving awards, uh, you got tons of things on your plate. And I wonder if maybe you felt like, okay, let me do this thing for this guy because I kept him waiting for 3 weeks. And I'm telling you, okay, if you need to keep me waiting till July, keep me waiting till July, whatever. But if you're gonna look at if you're not gonna look at the possibility of being a partner, dude, all power to you, you know. But if you're gonna look, I respect you totally. But if you're gonna look at the possibility of being a partner with me, you're gonna have to do things right. Because I'm not talking about some. I'm talking about a partnership, and I'm talking about if you, I sent you a long email about I spent 25 years on this, and the ramifications are dizzying. So if I send you an email that says, don't play the online game, the online game is not developed, it's not fully functional, play the print and play version, okay? And you write me back saying, I played the online game, it doesn't seem to be working right. Now, you might say, well, what if the online game doesn't work all that well? Why don't you just take off the link to the online game? Well, one of the many reasons I don't take off the link to the online game is that I'm looking for a partner. And I want a partner that reads what I say And if I send you an email, which you can see, it's in the last email that I sent you, right below it was your reply, and right below it was the one that repeated for the umpteenth time. Don't play the online version. It's a look at the print and play. The online version is not developed. Okay, so what that tells me, and I'm not laying traps. There's other reasons why I got the play online thing there. When my brother gets it fully developed, and there's times when it works, and times when it doesn't. It's a very complex reason. I don't want to give you the impression that I'm leaving it that there as a trap. I didn't put it there as a trap. But when I thought about taking it out, because a couple of weeks ago the online version started to work even less than it did before because they made some changes, and I'm not dealing with the online version right now. I thought, why don't I remove it? And I thought there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons was I need the people to focus when I send them an email. You're the only one that I'm really focusing on right now. It's not that I haven't shared it with some others, but you're the only one that I'm actually sending a long, detailed series of emails through, and I'm thinking you are the one that I want. If there's somebody that I want to assess, if there's somebody in the gaming industry that I want to take the proper time to assess my projects, it's Shari Spiro. But I said a ton of things in my emails, and in the last email that I sent you, which is very easily readable with the last email that I sent you, is I summarized the tons of things that I sent with my email. I don't want somebody to play quickly. I don't want somebody to look at it quickly. And it also, in previous emails, I said this isn't about a there's a great online potential, but it's about face-to-face. So we might just have to come to be grown-ups and understand that maybe I'm dreaming of a partnership with you, and I'm fantasizing and imagining this is the perfect match for this business, for this game, for the potential that goes a lot above and beyond it being a game, which I've addressed extensively in another email. And I need to be a grown-up and understand, no, she's got fantastic qualities. She's one of the greatest things in the gaming industry, one of the greatest people in the gaming industry, but it's not a good match. But on the other hand, if you do want to consider exploring the partnership, do it seriously, do it professionally. Because I'm sorry to be sounding like I'm whatever, scolding. But if I'm going to be a businessman, I need somebody that does things properly. I need somebody that if you get somebody that sends you these emails and even goes out of their way to say, okay, I understand, you take your time. I wanted to know in a week if you were starting to look into it and so on and so forth. And if you blatantly don't look at the emails, and and I told you, if you don't want to look at all the emails, at least look at the last one. I need a professional. I need somebody that I have chemistry with in terms of intellectual approach to things, an independent spirit, and so on and so forth. But if I'm going to be serious about business, I need somebody that's serious about business. Now, I don't think you got as far as you got in business without being professional. But I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think you're writing me back saying the online thing doesn't work. Yeah, if I'm a human being, I understand we can get over it. But if that's indicative of the once in a while human slip, that's perfectly understandable. But if it's indicative of the fact that you're not going to have the time or the inclination or the astrological alignment to properly assess a potential business partnership, then let's not. But here's hoping we will. I would hope that if you have a business partner that deals with somebody that doesn't do things properly, you would appreciate the fact that if he's tried the email route, because I've said these things by email before, and then he tries the video route, he'd have to understand, look, it's not a good match at this particular time, and that he lays it down. So I'm not saying it's not a good match. I am hoping against hope that it is a good match. But as much as I like you, I have to admit that it made me smile I mean, it made me smile and made me laugh, and there's something endearing about Shari. I'm imagining Shari with a bunch of things to do. She's got her kids, she's got, I imagine, your husband, and three companies, and people that want to interview, and deadlines, and 5,000 people with Kickstarter things, and conventions, and Twitter accounts, and so on and so forth. She's like, oh, Took wrote me. Oh, I haven't even looked at it yet. Let me try it. Okay, there's something charming about it. But I don't need charming right now. I need professional, I need business. I need somebody that tells me, Took, I'm not going to be able to do this properly until July. Or somebody tells me, look, I can spend 4 hours a week this next week on it. I'm talking about 4 hours a week, which includes 2 hours of reading and then 2 hours of playing. Playing includes, you got to have at least two other players. You got to see what it's like. I said the game involves sitting down and seeing what happens at the end of the game. If you're going to play to the end of the game, you've got to have two human beings. I don't care if it's your daughter and a hobo or two professional game inventors, but you got to have two besides you, three human beings that play the game to the end. If you want to play a short game, play with groups 1, 2, and 3, or groups 5, 6, and 7, with or without group 4. Okay? So, but you got, and in terms of understanding the potential, not just of the games, but more the potential, you need to read the links. You need to say, okay, maybe I'm going to have three human beings play the game. I'm not going to play the game, but I'm going to make sure that those three human beings, whether they're my employees or my family or whatever, they play the game. They're going to understand that it's going to take maybe 1 or 2 hours. It could take 1 hour, but if they're going to do a short game, and the first time they need to learn the rules, tell them to play for 2 hours, even though they might be done with the game in 40 minutes, okay? But you, as a potential business partner, if you're not going to play the game, you can test how others react to the game. But you need to spend 2 hours reading the links of the website, discovering everything that I've got in the website. The potential is a lot more than I've said. Maybe even reviewing the emails after all. Because this is a business proposal. I was somebody that 25 years ago or 20 years ago was offered the opportunity to become the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics when Bern Hogarth, the co-founder of the New York School of Visual Arts, his partners were thinking of buying Marvel Comics. He wanted me to be the editor-in-chief of Marvel Comics. I'm somebody that was the only professor that was invited or that had an agreement with the Art Center College of Design. Richard Hertz was the chair of the liberal arts department. I was the only one for whom they were going to have TV and the press in 1995. I was the only one that I know of for whom they were going to have the TV and the press when I was going to make a public speech because of the two courses that I was going to teach that had to do with comics and narrative and semiotics. 20 years ago, I walked the earth. I left all those careers and so on and so forth. And arguably, people think I'm crazy and so on and so forth. Don't have a fucking dime to my name. Yeah, I own 200 websites that nobody visits for now. And I do tarot and I speak strange and so on and so forth. So right now, I may seem like a weirdo, and I am a weirdo, but I know my shit. I've been in the real professional world 25 years ago. 20 years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. I understand organizations. I've dabbled with corporate world. I've had offers of positions that were pretty amazing, and I am not looking to get a game printed by Ad Magic. I am looking for a potential business partner, and as I've said, that would involve that over several months. You would spend 4 or 5 hours a week getting to really understand all the potentials of the business partnership, getting to discuss what would be the business partnership, getting to find out if you and I might match as partners. And as I've said, if you do spend 2 hours reading my links and maybe rereading my emails, 2 hours, and I can even wait till July for you to read those 2 hours, although I think I started to think it would be a little bit not very well indicative, but if honestly you cannot do it until July, I'll wait until July for you to read 2 hours, not so that you will commit to spending the following 4 months spending 4 hours a week on exploring the partnership, but at least to let me know, yeah, I have spent 2 hours. I am looking for 2 hours of your time and 2 hours of somebody else's time that you delegate, that they would play the game and you would read my emails and you would read my links. You would read the whole website that I've got, including the fact that I've said the website is very crude and it doesn't always load. I'm trying to deal with tech support and so on and so forth. That's why maybe the emails will be better. But I'm looking for 2 hours of your time to begin to understand what the complexity of the project that I've crudely put together, but I've worked on for 25 years, and 2 hours of playing time. Like I said, you don't even have to play it. You can get 3 strangers or 3 employees or 3 family members to play and let them know if to play to the end of the game, play with, groups 1, 2, or 3, or groups 5, 6, or 7 of the from the game board. The print and play version. The print and play version, not the online version. So I'm asking for a total of 4 hours from you and or your delegates. And I'm even telling you, even though I think it'll be reasonable to get 2 or 4 hours within the next week, I'm telling you, if astrologically you cannot devote 4 hours of your time until July, I'm going to wait until July. But I'm looking for 4 hours total, which include 2 hours of reading. Excuse my tone of voice. I'm looking for somebody that can spend 2 hours of reading the stuff that I got on my website, ideally reading the stuff that I got on my emails. 2 hours of reading, and that involves 2 hours of playing. They are somebody else. And I'm looking at you, and I'm saying, can we... At that point, I'm not saying you'd say we want to be partners. I said already, if you basically are wanting to be partners with me on 2 hours, I'd say, oh, I appreciate it, but hold on. Let's make sure we understand what we got here. But initially, I'm looking for a 2 hour of your time, and no, it's not the online version. I'm sorry about my tone of voice. I hope we can laugh at it. Like I said, I hope one day we'll have a beer, and I can tell you what I appreciate about you, although I've got to say that right now I've been so busy myself with other things that I forgot because I had like a mental list when I saw your first videos and your first blogs and some things about you. I thought, oh, I got to tell her I appreciated this, and that. Now I'd have to sort of review that because I didn't make any notes, but the impression stayed the same. My memory may be a little discombobulated like you were when you went to the online thing, when I'd written 3 times, don't go to the online version. So my mind is discombobulated because I had a list of things that I appreciate about you, but I do know that when I saw your interviews, I read a couple of your blogs, I studied some about you, I made a mental list in my mind, this is back in April, about, dude, this person has incredible qualities. And I said, well, maybe one day, even if we're not partners, we're going to have a beer and, we're going to tell each other that. But I hope I made my key points clear. This is 18 minutes and almost 18 minutes and a half of your time. I'm going to let you go. I have no idea if you're going to watch this.